A business plan is an idea at the beginning. And if you cannot articulate that idea very, very clearly, there's no point spending hours and days building a detailed business plan, because the business plan itself will not be very, very clear. What I suggest, if you're just starting, is to try and write down your idea on a piece of paper as an executive summary or as a few sentences that anybody reading it can understand it very, very clearly and understand there's an opportunity there. Even if it's a stranger that is not an expert in your field, they can understand it. Once you've done that and you can articulate that idea, the business plan becomes a lot easier because it just feeds on that story. The biggest mistake I see when entrepreneurs start actually doing their market sizing is, let's take an example. Let's say you're selling a door that filters better the light. You will try to find a market size of how many people would buy that type of door. Of course, you do not have that number, so you go on Google and you get a lot of data. You get a lot of numbers. And the mistake that people do, they take all these numbers and they put them in a business plan, and they think because there's a lot of numbers in the business plan, it sounds like it's serious and they've done their research. Well, actually what happens is if you do that, you'll have a lot of contradicting numbers, and because you're taking a lot of numbers, you're very prone to making mistakes. So my advice is to choose one set of number and then one set of assumptions to come up with the number of doors you might sell. Make sure you specify that source on your business plan and you verify it, so it's not like just a person who just commented on it, if possible. Make sure it's a geography you're kind of looking for, UK, Europe, US, worldwide, and make sure it's recent enough if the market's changing a lot, at least a year or 2 years old. This way, there's no mistake, the source is credible, people can argue your assumptions, but at least you hopefully will be in the right order of magnitudes. Keep it simple, because that number is going to be used in other things like the financial model and everything else. The investors are spending money to have a go at your idea and hoping they're going to make a lot of money. I know it's a very capitalistic view of the world, but let's assume you're having a financial investor and there's nothing else that's attracting that investor. In that case, what happens is they want to spend the least money possible making sure that the idea works and making obviously the maximum money at the end of the day. So what you can do is you can make that amount of money they're spending to prove the idea as small as possible. So how do you do that? Let's say the risks is that people don't like your app and they don't buy it, okay? Or they don't buy your door, for example. Start selling early to prove that no, there is demand for your door. Let's say the risk is the technology of light filtering doesn't work on these doors. Do a minimum viable product as quickly as you can to prove that you can actually manufacture that. And if you can do that very quickly with less money, then the risks are gone, and then the investors will be more willing to actually spend money to actually grow your company at the end of the day. So you make it more attractive by reducing the risks very early on.